Welcome to episode 208 of John Boy and Jake Radio. It's May 5th. We've got a lot of sports news. We've got Last Dance. We've got Murder Hornets. We've got Treasure Island. A lot of fun stuff coming up. Thanks for joining us. John Boy and Jake Radio. Good morning, good afternoon, hello, and welcome. Good night if you listen to this on the podcast app on your drive home. Well, no one's really driving home from work, but good whatever to you. Jake, happy Tuesday. How you doing?
Good whatever to you. Hey, James. Hey, big baby David in the corner, flaunting it, needing it, wanting it. Yeah, man, I'm keep on keeping on. Big weekend, breaking news in John Boy Media. We'll get to that in the sports a little bit, but yeah, man, I'm doing okay. Body's fighting back at me a little bit, but I've come to grips that I think that's just life now. I think I hit 30, and it's just body gave out. Too many spike ball games. Too many volleyball games, too many tackle football games in the 8th grade with the buddies, and I think it's just over now. So, but it was a good run. It was a hell of a run.
Yeah, you do fall hard when you fall.
Brooklyn, we go hard. So, yeah, it was a pretty interesting 1 a.m. waking up feeling like my bicep and my tricep were ripped off my body. New feature.
Yeah, did it move? It moved down there, or is it totally new?
New feature on the Corvette. But yeah, not sure. Yesterday was like the best day I felt for a while, and then I had 2 bone-rattling sneezes, and now bicep, tricep, and left pectoral feel like they're removing themselves from my skeleton. So,
sneezes,
doctor, give me the news. I got a bad case of loving you. Yeah, dude, I've always had bone rattling sneezes.
But you hold your sneeze.
Maybe I was letting them out, Jim. This is I normally hold them in because it stops the bone rattle a little bit, but I was doing both, and it was allergy season, and it does have something to do with the original muscle strain. I did an original Google search, and it was like, yeah, if you strain a muscle and you have a big sneeze or cough, it can irritate other stuff. But I've always had it. It's part of my lifelong disease. So again, we're here. We're moving on to Buffalo. So what's going on at the John Boy HQ?
Not much. Woke up earlier today, so I was happy with that. Feeling good. Big day ahead of us. I had a good weekend. It was really nice out, like really good. And the news, the biggest thing that happened to me was when our crew reposted that breakdown of Cameron Maben robbing a home run. And I was like, holy shit. We're that deep into the season that at this time last year, Maben was on the Yankees.
Yeah.
Out like really, because, our brain's just playing tricks with us during quarantine that like, it's only been a couple months. I mean, you realize how much in a normal year, how much happens in a month. It's like, yeah, it's like really that fucking played so many tricks on me. Like, oh my God, May. It's crazy. But other than that, I'm doing good. I'm actually getting institutionalized with quarantine that I'm scared for when it ends. Like I'm starting to getting nervous of what does that look like? Like what's the day-to-day, the transition, how many people can go to the office? Do we all go to the office? So I've had a couple thoughts like what's not quarantine life? And that is actually like daunting me, which is crazy. I'm just institutionalized. Quarantine.
Yeah.
Brooks was here.
That's tough.
Yeah. So other than that, I'm doing great. I'm really hungry right now. So that's an update. Probably going to make a smoothie soon and all that. And I have told BBD, I have Trevor's Tidbits stuck in my head. The song by Bubak.
It's a good track. It's a
It's
fresh track.
It's time for Trevor's Tidbits just all morning. It's a bummer.
It's good.
Yeah. I think that's it. You want to jump right into the sports? You had a nice day at the park. I went to the park, 2 different parks.
2 different parks. That was pretty nice. That was Saturday.
In the park.
Saturday.
Must have been the 4th of July.
Yeah, it was just interesting. I think a lot of people, if you're active on the Twitter sphere, you'll see a lot of people going for buzzy tweets that are like, look at this park compared to this park. And it's like, well, that picture has gay pride flags up and nobody's wearing a mask. So I doubt that's from today. But yeah, it was interesting. I mean, there's a lot of people at Central Park to the point where you're like, oh boy, like this could come back and bite us. But at the same time, like everyone was kind of being smart. There was no mingling.
Did you see the videos of the protesters? Like in the cot? Dude, I probably said, like, I don't get it. I straight up don't get it. Like, those people have nothing going on. They can just like skip the day. Like, they don't have like their own job or their families. Like, how could they care so intensely to go like toe to toe with the cops and scream in their faces? Like, I don't understand. Is it just like a web of like parents? Like, there's like 13-year-old kids there. It's so sad when I see like 13-year-old kids at these protests, like in the mix. So like that's like terrible. I don't get it.
It's tough times for the country, man. I mean, I know there's been some good posts out there because normally it's the far right being like, oh, if these liberals got a job, they could be out there protesting, and now it's a lot of people on the far right who are yelling about wanting to get their hair cut and stuff like that. So it's the country is at odds, man. It's
sucks that everything becomes the 2-party system.
Oh yeah,
like no one is enjoying Corona. No one.
I'm not confident on anything, but I think you and I are going to be on the right side of history. That just like I think now is a great point. Every time you see the craziest person or the dumbest person online, know that they have the same amount of votes as you do in a coming election.
It's crazy.
And I think people have laughed at us for years on that, but like I think there will be a day when people figure shit out where it's like, hey, we did some good survival of the fittest stuff. We need like the fit people to step up because there's a lot of non-fit.
Yeah, even if I understand what they're like the protesters like upset about, which I do, like I get it, but like the physical act of like I'm gonna go just scream in a cop's face for 3 hours and that'll do something is insane to me. That you think that that's worthwhile. Yeah, nothing's getting done. Absolutely nothing. It's crazy. But yeah, I understand like the need to get back to work and stuff for a lot of people. We could use that, but just like fucking nuts. I don't get it. Never will, never have. And when I see young kids doing it, I get like real sad for them.
Heavy.
Yeah. Speaking of, let's go into sports.
Wow. I mean, the sports news heard around the world. Some of the biggest sports news this century was broke by our own Trevor Plouffe, saying that baseball will be on its way back. He heard from some little birds that there's a report out, MLB talking about bringing baseball back essentially for July 1st with a little spring training part 2 period before. Sent the internet into a frenzy, which kind of ties into what we were talking about before. More importantly than that, Andy Dalton, BBD's favorite quarterback with red hair, goes to the Cowboys. Bit of a homecoming for him. Last Dance, another good couple episodes. I thought it was funny. There was There's some rumors floating around that they weren't going to jump around as much, and it's like, no, but I mean that's fine. We're okay with that. Don't even give us the rumors at this point. Emmanuel Classe, I never know how it's said, but he was the big piece that Cleveland got in the Corey Kluber trade. Supposed to be a dirty reliever, triple-digit cutter / 80-game PED suspension. Tough news for the Indians without baseball. Albert Pujols wants to play after his Angels contract ends. I think other MLB teams will say no thank you. And the KBO began today. Caught some of that game due to my arm falling off. And the CPBL announces that 1,000 fans per game will start Ocho de Mayo.
The sports. A lot of sports news on Tuesday after we take Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday off. So that adds up. I think we'll just skip the baseball stuff. We're recording with Plouffe today, and we're going to talk all about it. So, unless
sorry.
Yeah, it's exciting. He's got more scoops. He's got a lot of tidbits. He's got a couple more that I don't know if he wants to share or not, but if you're a Patreon member of John Boy Media and you want to listen live, we will be recording that in like a couple hours. And it'll be out tomorrow. But, hey, if baseball's back around July 1st, that is fantastic.
Be neat.
It would be fantastic. And I want to fight Keith Law, and that's all we'll say.
Boom.
Staying with baseball, the Pujols thing, as you said, like, Albert. His contract, he's got like 2 more years, Jake. He's got 3 more years, 2020, 2021, and 2022. 3, he may not play out his contract.
Yeah, you wonder what goes through a guy's head. And it's, hey man, everybody's got different stuff going on. It's this year and next year, 30 mil next year, but he's been a non-productive player for the past, 3 seasons officially. And it's just tough, man. Like, yes, he's hitting, 23 home runs a season kind of, but that's almost literally it. And, I don't know. You just wonder, you wonder if there's other motivations involved or what it is, but, not Albert.
His stats are going to take, like, if he does play 3 more years, like the rest of his contract, his stats are going to take it, like his career stats, which I know, like, you don't want to be thinking about your career stats when you retire and all that shit because he just wants to play baseball. And I totally respect and understand that. But the last 3 years, his OPS plus has dropped 10 points from 157 to 147. And his OPS goes from 965 to 927. If he plays 3 more years, I bet you that career OPS drops below 9. And that's like a shitty way to look back on a dude who's one of the best right-hand hitters in the history of baseball. I don't know. I know that that's more like Hall of Fame talk and more like broad scope, but probably should retire now, Albert.
Man, that Angels contract is all-time bad. And dude, there's a generation of baseball fans. If you didn't really get into baseball until the aughts, or however you like to say it, Albert Pujols has been kind of a can't move. He's hit since 2013. He's hitting 254 with a 749 OPS, which is, not pedestrian, but league average at best. And this guy is one of the best right-handed hitters to ever play the game. And there's people that don't know that, and you're mentioning the numbers. He right now his career batting average is 300, and that's almost one of those, like, again, it'll be lost on a lot of the Utes, but 300, is a measuring bar. I mean, do what you want with it, and batting average isn't nearly as important as people thought it was back in the day. But if you can hit major league pitching at a 300 clip, even if you're on base, if you hit 300 and your on base percentage is 307, you're still kind of a good hitter. Like, I know that there's something that's shaking in their boots right now because they got a snake in their boots right now. Oh my God, get it. Like, it's just to be able to do that, it will always be impressive to a degree.
Yeah. What with 3 choices, Jake?
Yeah.
He plays past the Angels contract. He finishes the Angels contract, which is 3 more seasons, including 2020. He doesn't finish out the Angels contract. What would you put the odds at? Because I'll tell you, I have him as he doesn't finish the contract, 1. 2 is he finishes the contract, and 3, he plays past it. I mean, look at like A-Rod. I mean, he had to retire before his contract was up.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give a spin zone for this year. Maybe Albert can find something for a little bit because it won't be the grind of a normal major league season. I mean, you see that with a lot of old bodies. But, I mean, you could also find yourself, this has kind of been swept under the rug in baseball pretty decently, / people not caring about Anaheim and them sucking. But, they went out, they got Rendon. Justin Upton's supposed to be healthy. This is their first good baseball team in a long while. And, like, what if Pujols is the outlier?
Yeah, so that's also what I'm saying. Like, if they're like need to win,
this could be the first time they have their hand forced, where it's like, hey, we just can't have you being nothing over there. So that could be interesting if the Angels figure it out. But yeah, I don't I don't know, man. Like, maybe there's this athlete competitiveness when you start seeing guys in other sports like the Tom Brady's and other old men putting it together. But otherwise, I don't know, Albie.
Well, I just checked to see if they have any first baseman in their system that they're excited about, the Angels.
Sure.
And they don't. I mean, It's Joey Curletta and Dustin Peterson, who are like free agent minor league bring overs. And then they have a kid named Jared Walsh, who's ranked 33rd overall. You know that name?
No.
Oh, I thought you didn't know him from UTPA or something. But anyway, yeah. I would put my money on he doesn't finish that contract, especially if the Angels are like actually going to get competitive. It's like sucks.
Did anything provoke this quote? Is there an article or anything?
Oh, I don't know.
I think someone just like asked him because what else is there to talk about? It might have been because he's losing a year. He thinks he can add one on the back end.
Oh, and the full quote it looks like is he hasn't closed the door on it. So it's more like he hasn't come to grips with it.
I think there's a world where, and it's only 1 year left of the Angels deal. Like, I think there's a world where like after next year they officially add universal DH and like Cardinals bring him back for the minimum and he can DH there for 1 year as a goodbye because they still love him there.
That'd be cool.
I see a world where that can happen, or the Angels bring him back. I don't know. The biggest problem for him with the Angels is that like Ohtani, pretty much every at bat he has is from the DH spot. So
I think I had it wrong. I think his 2021 is his last year.
Yeah, and then he's got like a little Bonilla type thing going on at the end, which is probably throwing it off.
Yeah.
It might technically be a buyout.
So then I think he finishes the contract. I thought he had 2021 and 2022. So I think that odds are he finishes up the contract.
And you know what? BBD might be onto something there, which again would be an interesting plot twist to all this. But say universal DH sticks, especially if they push it this year in baseball. Pujols actually still has good splits versus lefties. He had an 830 OPS versus lefties. So if someone is willing to put the machine on their bench, which, hey, bring a Hall of Famer into town to hit against some lefties, that sounds kind of fun.
Yeah.
So sure, go get it, Albert.
Yeah.
2030.
And 2030. I had the whatever wrong, so I apologize about that. This was his quote on, and then we'll move on. I don't think about it that way. It's my last year under contract, but that doesn't mean I can't keep playing. I haven't closed that door. I'm taking it day by day, year by year, but you haven't heard from my mouth that I'm going to retire next year or that it's going to be my last year or that I'm going to keep playing. I haven't said any of that. When that time comes, we'll see. Just because you have 1 year left in your contract doesn't mean it's your last year. It could be. It could not be. God hasn't put that in my heart yet. So that's a totally fine quote. It's a little different than he didn't say, like, I'm going to play or I want to play. He's just like, I don't know yet, guys.
I think God is trying to put it in my heart right now that I need to stop chasing the dream of Major League Baseball.
Could be true.
Yeah.
Could be true.
Imagine.
What do you want to stick on baseball and talk about this Emmanuel Class? How do you say it, BBD? Do you know? Is it Classe? Is it Kloss?
I'm reasonably certain it's Class A, but there hasn't exactly been games for me to hear it. So
Let's see. Baseball Reference, they don't have the name thing.
Year, so there
so
should
that's
be
pretty
a
brutal.
video somewhere.
That is brutal. Baseball. That's Baseball Reference admitting defeat.
Dude, there's got to be... I don't know, man. It just feels like there's some rules of society that don't transfer into sports. That, like, okay, say this baseball season was still canceled. Like the whole Mookie Betts trade should just be undone. But like, I can't really say that on our baseball podcast because that sounds like Yankee Homer stuff. But like, think about it. If this year got canceled, like that Mookie Betts trade should be null and void. That was supposed to be his whole tenure as a Dodger. He would be a free agent. But it's kind of funny the world doesn't work like this. And this is kind of another example. I mean, this is a young guy that, you know, hopefully this isn't everything, but I mean, they traded away a former Cy Young winner in Kluber, who knows what he's got left in the tank, for essentially this kid. And now it comes out he's on PEDs. Like, I don't know. Like, raise the flag a little bit. Did they do a physical and test for PEDs, or do they just test their, like, make sure they don't have arms and shoulders like me currently?
I don't know. I don't know what the testing is. It's kind of interesting. It's kind of like, I'm sure the players union would be against that. Like, you can't test everyone for PEDs if you're about to trade for him. I don't know. Also, how much did the PEDs actually help him pitch? Was it like one of those roundabout PEDs that like under the radar, or is his performance strictly helped by this performance enhancing drug? You know what I mean? Sometimes they're not. Sometimes they very much are. But this dude threw 100 miles per hour and threw, like, the whole thing was he throws a 100 mile per hour slider, basically. Like, that was his the whole lore around him. So I will say this. If he can throw that, if he can throw 98 and a 98 mile per hour slider without the PEDs, and this was just kind of one of those weird things, then do you still do the trade? Because, I mean, he's probably got 7 years, right? Or 6 years.
Yeah, he's still got a while to go, and he's really young. So, yeah, I mean, I guess that's where I don't know. You do hopefully he's fine. You just never know, man. I mean, what if he was doing this to recover better so he could get his arm strength up? I don't know. If I'm an Indians fan, I'm still kind of mad we got rid of Kluber, someone that's close to my heart, even if he's dead. And then when the return was hopefully a high leverage reliever, and this is the first thing, it's like, what? Yeah.
Yeah. But he does have 6 years. So 80 games along 6 years. Like, it's not like, oh, what a dumb trade. This ruins the entire trade. I mean, he can still be, their closer for 2022 to 2025. And you'd still be like, all right, cool. Solid piece we got. But that's the highest of highest upsides.
And what about, the Indians still have a good team this year. This could be the last year of Francisco Lindor.
That's a great point.
And like, hey, if they get off to a slow start or their bullpen gets knocked around, I mean, you take one piece out of a bullpen, that can change the whole dynamic of your team. I don't know. Like, it sounds a little dramatic, but hey, if you're an Indians fan, there's a chance that in 2 years you're sitting there without Lindor, no Kluber, that the Twins run the division. Maybe the White Sox are really good. And you're sitting there watching Emmanuel Clase close games, or maybe you're even not.
Yeah, and there were a ton of reports that Kluber isn't who he was at the time. Like, I think he was. I don't know this.
So that to Lance Lynn.
I know, but I know it's even like rude to say, but I mean, there are a lot of reports that we heard that damaged goods, the velocity is like nowhere near what it was beforehand, and they tried to have him come back for the end of the season last year, and like after 2 bullpen sessions, they were like, "Ooh, no, never mind."
Yeah.
So who knows? All right. Staying with baseball, KBO began. You watched some games. Did you enjoy it? Were they good?
I caught some of it. Yeah, it's kind of, it's tough to put the judgment on it. I mean, it was kind of interesting seeing the no crowd. And I don't know, you're kind of looking for the guys that you might have seen before. I did a couple Google searches. There was a shortstop that was on the Brewers even as of last year, so that was kind of fun. I mean, the game I tuned into, A, it's in a lot of pain and hating everything about myself, and B, it was like the 8th inning and they were already up 4-0. But I don't know. It was baseball. Shout out to Carl Ravitch, a guy who's been at ESPN for years, up from 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. in his house, in his family home, broadcasting part of this game, and Eduardo Perez too, a guy that thought he was a finalist to get the Mets job this year. So, yeah, I mean it was baseball. The game times are kind of brutal.
I know. I'd love to catch some, but I'm not going to do that. It'll ruin my whole day.
Yeah, I mean, normally I'm shuffling by 7:30, so if I could get in front of the TV with a cup of coffee and it's like a tight game, like yes, like I will watch that.
I'll do that too. I got up today at 7:00, but I was asleep, and then I showered at like 7:20, and then I went straight to do the morning show. There's no TV in here. If there was a TV in here, I'd prep for the morning show or make a breakdown and have it on. But we don't have a TV in here, so fuck. I gotta stream it.
So yeah, it's all right. I mean, I think earlier in the game they gave some of the backstories and stuff. Like I think the best hitting catcher in the league was in the game, and some baseball. A couple relievers I saw come in, they were throwing 91, 92. So it's like, okay, this is it.
Hey,
it was definitely that. It definitely felt. I mean, you felt it being a tier down, and I think the other thing for me is like, I don't know, baseball evolves, and if I want to relate this to the MJ doc in a really extended way, I mean, the dream team they did, that inspired all these young international guys you see in the NBA today. This is going to be a little less inspiration. Well, there'll be some inspiration, but dude, like I think each of these teams gets 3 like international players to put on their roster. And like there's going to be a lot of relievers that flame out in the next few years that throw hard, but they're just not good at baseball. And like I think they're going to go into that league, and that'll because I mean every relief pitcher I saw was kind of sitting 91, and it was like,
Yeah. Oh. The CPBL. I mean, you don't want to be mean because like it's awesome and good, but like it didn't feel like watching Major League Baseball. It at all. It felt like watching college or less than college, which I don't know. Is that like being mean? Should I not even say that?
I think they like advertise themselves as being like the equivalent of between A and AA.
So, they do? They are self-aware of that?
I don't know if like they say that, but like I'm pretty sure like every publication says it's something like that.
Okay, so that's all right. So
they know they're not Major League Baseball.
I don't feel bad then. That's good because that's what it feels like. It does. I mean, it feels very not one level below MLB, a couple. So,
and I don't want this to be a shot fired because again, I was watching it, and again, if it's on in the mornings, I'm probably going to turn it on and have my cup of Joe. I think they were still treating it almost, and that's the other thing. They were treating it like first game of the season / an extension of spring training almost. Like, I think every batter that I saw get on base after the 8th inning got like pinch ran for, and not in a strategy way. Like they almost that spring training, you played your whole game. Like, let's get you out of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a little bit of that, and one of the kids that came into pinch run, and it was the 9th inning, and I know some of these kids get started younger, and who am I? He's a 19-year-old, 5'4" second baseman came into pinch run, and I was like, I hope this kid's got all the talent in the world, but
5'4"?
Yeah.
Yo, it's crazy.
And then, dude, I guess this is the other thing in BBD. I don't know if you heard about this, but I mean, Corona rules, right? But like, players were high-fiving and touching and stuff, which I don't know. I thought that was supposed to be like no.
Well, they're all
Originally,
different.
it was.
They're ahead of
I
us.
think they said on the broadcast it's highly discouraged, but not against the rules, I guess. So
Because the
we had
5'4"
read
kid
that
got
it's illegal, but
5'4" kid got to third base, and the third baseman was like a normal sized human, and so he was like putting him around his arm and doing mean little guy stuff, and it's like, well,
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know about that. Dude, want to know if Trevor's tidbits baseball returning early July and spring training starting June 10th? Is that around June 10th? I mean, how long did this KBO contract? Because if now ESPN has to air KBO, the time zones won't matter. Yeah, never mind. I was gonna say if they have to air KBO over like the spring training, but then the way spring training's rumored. Never mind.
Okay.
That's not out
You
there
thought
yet.
about it.
Yeah.
You totally thought about it.
No, I just can't say it. Trev will be mad at me, so
Good.
I forgot. But do you think that ESPN's like, shit, it's gonna be
Well, I just
anyway?
Hey, let's hope Trevor's big tidbit from yesterday has some sort of truth in it. And I mean, how funny.
Well, it does have truth in it. I mean, don't.
Right. Depending how it plays out. If it plays out close to that truth. I mean, yeah, ESPN, the guys that refuse to basically show any baseball for 20 years, they might be baseball around the clock. So there's your irony soup for today.
Does the KBO go into July? Because then they're going to be like, fuck.
Yeah, dude, they play like a full. I think I saw it was like 144 games or some ish.
And ESPN has all of them. Like they're going to air the entire.
I don't know that.
Okay, I wonder if it was
I
like
might be making this up. I think they have like 6 weeks of games or something. Could be making that up completely, but I feel like I saw that float.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, so I think that's all the baseball news, which is surprisingly a good amount. 1,000 fans per section for the CPBL. That's basically, if it was I'm sure their stadiums are smaller. That's almost like 1 fan per section at Yankee Stadium, which is cool.
Yeah, we're and that's the thing. I mean, even looping back to the park this weekend, it just feels, and if you want to get into economic, political bullshit, sure, but it just feels like society's kind of coming, and I don't know, like you wonder what that looks like for MLB, and again, I've got fun images of John Boy Media inside the stadium somehow, but we'll see what it looks like around the world.
They did. Never mind. You talk about John Boy Media like at Yankee Stadium during this with no fans and shit. Like, yes, so much fun surrounding that. Anyway, Andy Dalton to the Cowboys. I listened to Talking Sports. Your guys' conversation. Keith's a Cowboys fan. I really liked his take. So if I was to offer an opinion, it'd just be regurgitating Keith's, which was like, it's good. Kind of letting Dak know, like, hey, if you're going to hold out and not play, like we have someone who isn't as good as you, but we're comfortable with them for now. So I like that.
That's kind of the interesting like push shove moment is, Hey, who knows how everything's going to play out in the NFL and their schedules and everything like that. But yeah, you almost wonder, is Andy Dalton a good thing? Like, hey, maybe, it takes Dak off his high horse a little bit. They figure out the right contract and they go ahead. Or, does it turn into a bigger game of chicken? Is Andy Dalton just enough of a threat that it turns into a holdout and stuff? So, I don't know, but hey, really cool for Andy Dalton. Like he's got paid a lot of money to play NFL football. He's, got the second most important job on the team, if you want to talk yourself into that speech. And he's a Texas kid. So like, hey, that's a lot of kids' dreams from that part of the world.
I think you lied at the top of the sports section when you said he's BBD's favorite redheaded quarterback.
Go on.
I mean, I got to think Brandon Weeden is ahead because he played for the Yankees. That's just me trying to know BBD.
I'm current X.
Well, both have now been Dallas Cowboys, so it doesn't help either of them.
Yeah, but remember when Brandon Weeden got stuck underneath the flag? That's one of the funnier highlights in NFL history.
Sweden was pretty bad, which I liked.
Just throws that long ball. Do you remember when he got stuck under the flag? That was so funny.
Brandon Weeden did something mean to my friend Jarrett from Oklahoma. So
a story that you can't share?
Inside scoop. They were just in a bar bathroom, and I think Brandon Weeden was the man at college, and he either like kicked him out of the bar or something like that, or he did something like college quarterback jerky.
Was it like the Jay Cutler in the bathroom story? It wasn't cool. It was just mean.
Yes.
Okay. That Jay Cutler story is all time. Who's getting a divorce now?
Sorry, Jay.
I think maybe he's happy about it. Don Shula passed away, most winningest coach in NFL history.
Yeah, it's this was a tough one for me because a lot of sports people kind of really felt the impact of this. I mean, just being honest, I don't. I mean, he was kind of before my time, but everyone that talks about him and some of the stats that coming out were pretty awesome. He was an NFL coach for 33 years and he only had 2 losing seasons.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so when you start to hear some of these numbers and he's got the most all-time wins and obviously the perfect team. And I guess that's the other thing that thrown it off for me. The perfect team has been so embellished and like the old men dancing on graves thing like isn't a fun thing every NFL season, but they have the most fun in the world with it. So yeah, but it's a sad one.
I like that they are outwardly rooting for no other team to be perfect.
Yeah.
I think it is like an old bitter man thing. Like I don't want to be one of those guys, but I like watching those guys.
Oh, like that's the thing. Like, yes, to be a part of that, you always have to have that edge up. But at the same time, like I think they're like, oh, we're the best team ever. We could beat the teams out there today. And it's like, you guys would get shellacked.
Yeah, that's true. Don Shula is a great name.
Don Shula is a great name. And dude, some of the young pics and vids of him, there's one that kept coming out of him holding the NFL trophy as like a young, healthy coach. And it's like one of those really cool images.
He looks like a Barbie doll from this, like the 60s with like his hair,
a little
like
bit.
the sideburns and like the perfect little coif. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. Last Dance. Is that the only other thing here on the sports list?
I think so. What'd you like, Jim?
I'm enjoying it. I'm over the timeline thing, how much it jumps around. Like I fully accepted that completely. So it doesn't bother me one iota anymore. It did at the beginning. I've come to accept it. What was, I'm blanking. The Kobe part was cool, but it was like 30 seconds and people kept referring to it as the Kobe episode. So I thought like, why is there going to be so much Kobe? And then it was just 30 seconds. I was like, oh, that makes sense. Why do people keep talking about that like that? But that was something that I thought about while watching it. And
yeah, they jumped back to it a little bit like they did with everything. But yeah, it shouldn't have been labeled the Kobe episode, but because he's in it, they're gonna.
Yeah. The Dream Team stuff's like awesome. Yeah. And the fact Jordan still hates him. The fact that fact that they were like, no one liked him. Like, why does it just get pinned on Jordan? But also, Jordan made the documentary. Dude, I think the fact that Jordan is behind this documentary, it almost is like, because some people are like, you got to remember, Jordan's behind this. And it's like, but it's not painting him in like the perfect light. It's painting him in like a perfectly balanced human light of like, he's kind of I don't know. It seemed like he was always having fun. The quarter scene with the security was amazing. Like that.
Yeah.
That to me proves Jordan's an awesome dude. Like, I don't care what you say.
Yeah, I mean it's teetering the line between awesome dude and, addicted to gambling. Showing that he would gamble on a game of throwing quarters at a wall with the security guards, and like just how much he loves golf, and is it really loving golf or is it loving to gamble on golf? But yeah, I don't know. I know that's been coming out more, that Jordan kind of had final rights to sign off on this, and I do lean the other way a little more, that I think Jordan's got, some dark stuff with some of his gambling. And there's the rumors that's why he was, out of the NBA and stuff like that. That I do think Jordan gets to depict some of this stuff in not necessarily a positive light, but definitely a lot more positive than if Jordan didn't get a sign off on this information.
Yeah, that's kind of a given, but I do think like it's more open than you would expect it to be.
Yeah, I think the openness, you're right. A lot of people are impressed that Jordan is actually being this open, which is really cool. But yeah, it's the old who's telling the story a little bit.
Seinfeld going into the locker room, that scene was awesome.
That was pretty funny. Because, yeah, a lot of people, the stuff I was reading after that was like, Jordan never seen an episode of Seinfeld. He just knew he was a guy. So Jordan kind of like tried to the sniff crew and the guys that he beat in the quarter game. And Seinfeld was like, no, man, like, I'm here to see you. And then Phil Jackson came in and was like, all right, everybody out.
Yeah.
It's like, nice. That's such a good coaching line.
The high Phil. Also, the one clip where he's telling the camera that it sucks being him, like, like no one actually would want to live a day in my life, and the fucking director making him redo that line because they need to get the tracking camera perfect on when he says it, and he has to say it 4 times. That was one of the sadder things. Like,
yeah,
I mean, that really shows how much, like, he's trying to tell you honestly how much he hates this shit, and you're like, oh, go back to 1, start it again 3 times on him. Like, that director, like, come on, dude, come the fuck on, quit it. Felt bad for Jordan there. But also, like, dude, it does suck. Like, they said, like, as soon as he left his hotel room and he gets off that elevator and they show that crowd of people just waiting at the off chance, and then like from that moment till he's back in his hotel room, he's hounded. It sucks. I don't envy that at all.
No, and it's why I mean, you see a lot of the guys in that ilk, Jeter, MJ, that they once it's done, they want to be done with it. And they are. Yeah.
Seinfeld, that scene, like, the more I'm thinking about it now, and then like when Seinfeld was like, don't run that play, it made Seinfeld look kind of loserish for the first time.
I guess I see what you're saying. Again, I think it's one of those. I think they brought 2 superstars of that era together, and it's one of those like, oh, and wait till you see what happens next.
Yeah, hilarity ensued, and they were both kind of like,
there is no happens next. Like, Jordan doesn't even know who Seinfeld is. Seinfeld obviously knows who Jordan. They know of each other, but they're, I don't think it ends well.
Yeah,
I think in '98 that joke might have played a little better too than it does right now.
Maybe could have. All right,
not much, but
halftime.
Yeah, I like that joke. I'll fight you on that.
It's a layup joke.
On your way getting kicked out of the locker room, just going, that's not gonna work.
Yeah, but then he says, just hand the ball to Michael. It's just
I mean, that's everybody's joke.
That's what I'm saying. That is the layup of layup jokes.
Well, also not even a joke.
Oprah
Doug
Winfrey,
Collins, the coach, said that.
Oprah Winfrey could have made that joke. Like it's just
yeah.
like anyone's joke. But anyway.
Well, Phil just kicked you out. This 6'7" behemoth sex pot just kicks you out of his room.
I know.
You got to tread lightly. You got to make the layup.
That is hi Phil. That was funny. I have a halftime update. Another Jake bought a Jake Sucks at while we were recording the first half.
Yep.
It just makes me giggle every time seeing that a Jake bought it. And then I looked, Jake Sucks hats flying off the shelves. We sold 15 this month.
Yeah, man.
Crazy. So do you feel like you're getting an army of, I don't even know what you'd call it.
Yeah, don't just stay away from the Jakes. We got our own thing going on.
The Jake Suckers. So you lead the pack.
We're it's the Jakes are a tight yet divided unit, ready to turn on each other at any moment.
Are you including dogs named Jake?
Oh yes, they lead the way.
They are the leader. They're the front lines and the back line.
We take our orders from them.
Nice. BBD, you got a fruit?
Strawberry. That was a delicious half.
Wow.
It's my favorite.
Did you cue that up before the half even happened?
Well, once I realized it was a good half, I knew where I was leaning.
Okay. I like to imagine that BBD just has a Google Doc just of like fruits and he ranks them and then has like bullet points about what they are.
I pull up the same list of fruits pretty much every day to choose from because I got to get creative some days. It's annoying because if you Google image search like list of fruits, it's always lists of fruits and vegetables, which is not what I'm looking for.
Yeah, that's bullshit. I found a fun fact today that I texted at Jake. Pineapples used to get rented out back in like the Roman times for like the equivalent of $8,000 today or $3,000 today just to like put at your party and flex on people. They wouldn't eat them. They just pass them around and rent them. So pineapples. How about that?
It's a rarity.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else, Jake?
What's your least favorite fruit, BBD? I'm getting nervous for that.
I think we did plums last week and
wow,
plum guy. One thing I think we missed in the first half, it was a good moment in KBO yesterday because so many people like flipped at ESPN at 1 a.m. and they're just in a rain delay.
Oh yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's pretty brutal. The game didn't like start until 2.
There's a fruit called breadfruit. What the fuck is that?
God, and imagine being again. Carl Ravitch is a dude that's like a kind of an early ESPN guy, and he's at home calling a KBO game that's in rain delay.
I was when I saw that like Ravitch and the crew that was calling these games at 1 and 5 a.m., I was shocked. I was like, what? They're making them do what?
ESPN's going for it, man.
I mean, remotely calling a KBO game at 1 a.m. That blows if that task comes across you. Because you got to learn all the players' names, how to pronounce their names, little tidbits. Like it's like a tall task. 1 a.m. Send Rabbit flowers.
He and Eduardo weren't in the same place either.
Yeah.
Obviously. So they were you could hear them trying not to step on each other. Because there's been a few things like the couple drafts, there's been like multiple people in the studio, but they're 6 feet apart. But
well, no, and what's kind of funny is I think those two do a lot of the Little League World Series games, and it's essentially the same task.
Yeah.
Ravitch said before the game that like he knows the Little League World Series experience helps him a lot for this. And he said it in reference to having experience pronouncing like Korean names.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that adds up. That's cool.
But the other stuff too with not being familiar with guys.
All right, let's go. Got to end the half first.
I read the news today, oh boy, and though the news was rather sad, well, I just had to laugh.
Well, it's 6 o'clock. Time for the news.
Invasive giant hornets have been spotted in the U.S. for the first time. They're known as Asia's murder hornets. A man caught camping on Disney's Discovery Island says it was a tropical paradise. A Florida man dresses as the Grim Reaper and strolls the beaches in protest of the state reopening prematurely. A school resource officer who taught sexting class resigned after inappropriate communication with middle schoolers. A Japanese aquarium urges the public to video chat the eels because they are missing and forgetting humans.
I read the news today, oh boy.
All right, some cool stories here. The murder hornets. Fuck those things, huh?
Yeah, they kind of took some of the headlines this weekend. Mostly because they're titled Murder Hornets. So
Great name, whoever made that. Did you see the picture of like someone holding 3 of them in the palm of their hand? How big they are?
no,
Oh, okay, dude. Are you scared of these things?
Huge.
I mean it's a yes and no thing. I mean if one of them clips me at this point, it's they've won.
Do you die, BBD?
I think it's something like it's like a pretty large number of people per year die from these in Asia. It's like 100 or something.
And they haven't figured out how to not die yet?
The deadly
I guess
meat-eating Asian giant hornet, which has been known to kill up to 50 people a year in
50.
Japan.
50.
But I don't think that's like per hornet. I think that's
Total.
things as a
Yeah.
team.
Yeah.
Which I mean, regular bees have to kill like that many people a year, right?
Yeah. Let me see. Deaths by bee a year. Quick stats. What a fun site. 80% of people who die from wasp or bee stings are men. Damn. Yeah, man. In 2016, 70 people died from bee stings. And 90 died from... And in 2017, 90 people died from bee stings. So
yeah.
So they're just another bee, basically.
We got another bee. They're big.
They're huge. You see that picture?
Yeah.
It's crazy. I think they're coming... they're like been in Washington.
Yeah, Washington State.
This might be my new favorite website, Quick Stats.
Quick stats.
It's actually just cdc.gov/mmwr/volume/86/wr/ the whole list of things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I hope I never cross paths with the murder hornet. Good job naming them, though. It's a good name.
Yeah.
I like this one. This man was caught camping at Disney's Discovery Island during quarantine. That's just a good idea. If he's homeless to begin with, I mean, that is just, I mean, I applaud hey, why don't I go to Disney World and just like hang out on that tropical island they invented over there?
You're telling me no one's there?
Yeah. He does have a pretty weird mugshot face. Like he's a...
Yeah, he's kind of blowing a kiss at the camera.
Yeah, I don't... Is that what what it is? Or is he just like a crooked neck? He might
I
be
think
blowing
it's a little
kiss.
crooked. It's a little crooked with some like duck lips. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird picture. A Florida man trespassing charged after security found him camping on Walt Disney World's Discovery Island. He's 42. Deputies searched for McGuire on foot, by helicopter, and by boat before finally making contact with him. I don't know if all that was necessary.
Yeah.
He said he was not aware the property was off limits and been camping there since Monday and planned to stay for a week.
It's just going to be here for a week, people. Chill out.
I mean, I hope it was like Disney's helicopter and shit, but that seems like a waste of money. He's fucking homeless. It's like, I don't know, get a megaphone and be like, leave.
Get out of here.
Make a whole big scene about it. It's a great idea. They should award him points for a good idea.
Well,
some people go find a sewer. Others go to Tropical Island.
He took a chance. I don't think he should be rewarded for it, but hey, this had to be a fun couple days.
Yeah. He shouldn't be rewarded. That's right. But maybe
I think that's
like
fair.
A golf clap. Good idea, though.
Yeah, like it's a head nod. It's like
a smart
I get it.
Yeah. Like
I
as the
see
cops
what you
putting
were
the cuffs on him, like actually pretty badass idea though, dude.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah. Ooh. Oh, okay. So here's where I don't know if this is okay. So when we read the headline, you know, a senior resource officer who taught sexting class resigned. What is the person in your head?
Excuse me?
Yeah. When we hear SRO officer resigns after teaching sexting class to middle schoolers, did you already click the link?
No.
What's the type of person that you're picturing?
School resource officer. I'm kind of coming in blind, man. I got to be honest with you. I mean, you know STEM from our high school. I don't know if that's who this is. Is it like an actual police officer? I don't really get this position or how.
It's like STEM. It's like STEM.
Okay. And yeah, I see. I already have a pretty skewed image of that in my head, so I'm coming in completely blind. I'm blank canvas.
I thought it was a woman. I don't know if that's sexist of me. Maybe it's because all of my student resource officers were women, so I thought it was a woman. And then when I click the picture and it's this gentleman, it just kind of becomes more creepy. I mean, it was already creepy. Maybe this is like institutionalized sexism or whatever, but like this is much more creepy. This dude was sexting middle schoolers?
What? Do all your friends know your girl's like butt? Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, guy's a pedophile.
No sexes or anything for me. I'm just good.
Well, that guy's a bad guy. But how did he teach a sexting class?
I mean, again, if you take the children out of it, I feel like I would be a really good person to teach that class. But unfortunately, it's for the youths. Did you take a sexting class, BBD? I see you biting your tongue down there.
It wasn't branded that way, but I think it was sort of covered under the DARE program. It was like mostly talking about drugs and alcohol, but they're also like, and don't like
DARE still
people.
exists?
I don't know if it still exists, but it existed for me.
That's crazy that it lasted to you. I mean, there's multiple studies that DARE actually teaches kids about drugs that they won't know about for like many years afterwards.
And
I remember
there were some parts of that, and we had other assemblies that were like, hey, don't send your private parts to people because other people will get them. And
that's good.
Or they don't want them.
I mean, that is smart. I guess that's not what I thought of when I heard a sexting class, but social media awareness should be taught. We didn't.
Yeah, I assume that's the class he was doing, basically.
Our generation got no teaching in that, and then a crash course. And when all the parents started flooding to Facebook, it was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
There's no teaching to be had. You couldn't teach it. It didn't exist.
Yeah.
We were the teachers.
I remember in 5th grade, the DARE officer came in and gave us a whole lecture about huff and paint. It's like, it may feel good for a little bit, but it ruins your brain cells. It's like, wait till I'm a little older, dude. I didn't even know that was a possibility. You had kids that were like, oh, I heard this feels good. Let's try it.
Yeah, there's a weird chicken and the egg effect. Yeah.
DARE. DARE's been around forever. They must have great funding. Because I know there's been tons of studies that it's like not good. And then this Japanese aquarium urges the public to video chat the eels. Do you want to do this? Should we do this tomorrow on JJR?
Video chat the eels who are forgetting humans exist.
Yeah. You want to do it?
I mean, I don't hate it.
This is like the story I told where my dad would call my neighbor when the dog was home alone and just leave a voicemail on the machine. Ruff, ruff.
I think. Well, I haven't seen the article yet. But I think this might be some good low key marketing
For eels?
for this for the Tokyo Aquarium.
It's great marketing. You're right.
Because like you start with the eels, then it's like, oh, maybe I'll go check out the store, or maybe, oh, are they taking donations or something? Like, I think it's some smart.
I agree with you there. I mean, because now, once this is over, people are like, hey, we got to go visit the eels. They're lonely. Got to go to the aquarium. I caught an eel once in a crabbing cage. Scared the shit out of me. You think you're pulling up crabs, and then all of a sudden there's a water snake in the box just slithering around.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. I think I was like 8 years old too, or 9 years old. I like just ran away. And then my dad put it in the bucket. Gross. Eels are disgusting. Ew. That's all the stories we got. We went long on the sports anyway. Do you want to do a bet of the day? Or do you want to do a KBO bet?
We can do a bet of the day.
You got KBO now, right?
Oh, we got it all, baby.
Bet of the
Sports
day,
every day.
it's the bet of the day. Bet of the day, bet of the day.
Bet of the day, bet of the day. It is the bet of the day. We've got the Taiwan Baseball League, the Chinese Professional Baseball League. We've got the KBO. I don't know what that stands for. Korean Baseball Organization. That's what it stands for? Nice.
Yep.
Jake, have you found a bet?
God, I mean, there's so many good things on the board today. I don't care about Eric Thames' time in the KBO. Let's see. Twins, betting calculator, full card for Cinco de Mayo. God, this Action Network. I think we're friends, but that was a terrible article. Let's see. Bovada. Okay. The Deuce on Bears. I know that's who. Is that who you're rooting for, BBD?
I'm a free agent. I can be swayed.
Okay, you're still open. You know what? I'm just gonna get ahead of this one, and I'm gonna do a long play because the internet's just fucking sucking right now. I'm gonna tell everyone to lay a little cheese. This is a future bet, but it's going to pay off big time. So, BBD, just remember this come like mid-October. The NC Dinos, plus 600 to win the league. They've never won a league title. They are one of the teams I watched on opening day, and I did feel a connection to them. They were just dominant. Other team never felt like they had a chance. They're currently number 4 in the odds. Right now, it's the Doosan Bears, the SK Wyverns, and the Kiwoom Heroes before them. But I just like what I see from the Dinos. Power throughout the lineup. They've got some funky guys out of the pen. And, this could be their special season.
That's exciting. Do they have any MLB or players? Aaron Althor.
Althor, former Phillies prospect. He was
Althor.
man in center field today.
Oh, dude. Yoon Soo Gang.
Oh, yeah.
Yoon Soo Gang. It's awesome.
Special.
All right. You know what, Jake?
Jake is stupid, but he's smart.
I'm with you. Let's just be Dinos fans. The North Carolina Dinos. I mean, we're huge. I like their color scheme. I like how many Kims they have on the team. If anyone's wondering, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm all in on, oh, never mind. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12. So rooting for them.
This is a classic. You throw a 20 down and you're hoping, in 5 months or so, you're going to collect 20 times 6, like to 100, 150 bucks.
Yes. Classic. All right. Thanks for hanging out with us for a little bit. We'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.